So just turning. So as soon as we start turning, as soon as we start moving, there's spirit. Because you can only move if there's conflict. Spirit is the energy of conflict. Spirit is war. And so the two, so I'm sort of fighting with the ground. I'm digging my sitting bones into the cushion in order to get this movement, but I'm also fighting with, so one muscle's sort of fighting the other. Yeah, so meditation is great, but it's only one half of the coin. It's only one side. So just really push into the body's limits. So normally our limit is produced by the mind. Especially as we get older, that limit is quite significantly less than the body's. We get more narrow-minded as we get older. We get more comfortable in what we think we are. So just pushing it. Just seeing how far out you can get. And then just let the stick down behind the back so it's a bit lower. So it's really pushing the chest up, and just continue. So it's sort of resting in the crook of your elbows, underneath the shoulder blades. Okay, then just bring it back up again, and now just tipping to the sides. Again, one muscle contracts, one muscle stretches. So the muscle that's stretching is being stretched. Yeah, so with exercises, John used to talk about they've got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So the beginning is just you just establishing the technique. So most people never really get beyond that. And then the middle is you having established the technique, just sinking into the energy. So that will only happen if you can keep the mind on the job. If your mind starts thinking about something else, then there'll be no energy. Very simple. And then it starts getting to the point where you're getting tired. And so part of you is wanting to stop because it's getting more and more difficult. So that's when, if you can just inhibit that desire to stop and just carry on, that's when the spirit will really come up. So it's important to get to that final stage, even if it's only for just a couple of rounds. Because only when you get to that stage will it push you really into places you haven't been before? Will it make you, will you get stronger? Okay, and now let's just leaning over the leg. Just imagine you're trying to touch the knee with your chin. So you're sort of jutting your chin out, you're extending the chin so that the spine will stretch. Ooh. One side is always more difficult than the other. Okay, and now let's just try just a few, just pushing it up and down. Yeah, so we just need to find a way of just making it difficult. One way is to imagine resistance. Another way is just to be really disciplined about it. Make it smooth and continuous. So mind continuous, no breaks. So what is it that makes it continuous? It's the tension. Yeah, so just work the stick. So like, imagine you're trying to, you're pulling your hands apart. You're trying to break the stick in the middle by pulling it and also by twisting a little bit. Okay. And now just pulling the stick proper. Again, just twisting it as well. And just feel the body breathing in, not necessarily the oxygen that's coming in, the air, but just the body. The body has got a sense of sort of something inside it is just wanting to expand and stretch open with this pull. And then when you reverse it and push, this is the breathing out phase. And you can keep it going and keep it going for as long as you want. And just let your normal breathing just be normal. And then just reverse it. Yeah, so what is it that keeps it continuous across the change? And you can just twist. So if you just twist, you've got a lot of tension in the twist. And then when you change, you just keep the twist. And so it's like the tension of the twisting allows continuity in this other AB, AB, AB action. So I twist, and then you can reverse the twist whilst you're doing one of the pushes or the pulls. And then it can change into the pull. So there has to be something that sort of overlaps in order to maintain continuity when you make a change. And then I just change the twist whilst I'm still pulling. And then I can just change that into a push without it breaking, because I've kept the tension in the twisting going. It's all tension. How many different tense forces can you establish? So, but it's very much a dynamic tension, one that changes and shifts all the time, stretchy, elastic. Yeah, so when we use the word tension in a bad way, say someone's got tense shoulders, it's not the right use of the word, really. Because tension just comes from the Latin tendere, which means to stretch. Yeah. Should say they've got rigid shoulders or blocked shoulders or tight shoulders. Yeah. And then just in a sense, you could say that we're sort of top heavy. I mean, everyone knows that. So most of the activity that we're aware, so when we're not physically active, the activity that we're aware of is up here. And so we're just trying to move it from here to the sacrum, really. So the other end of that craniosacral system. And so the cranium is made up of plates which sort of lock together, but they're not locked. They can breathe, you know. So a person's sacrum is actually, this person's cranium is actually breathing in and out like this as the plates sort of just move gently against each other. So we want and the sacrum is the same. You know, when you put your hand on someone's sacrum, you can feel there's a lot of movement in there. The same as when you put your hand on their cranium. And, you know, we're not aware of it on ourselves, but we want to become so. So we just have to get out of here and into here, and it just requires endless work, because the main thing that has to happen is the Min Meng has to push back. So we have to just get rid of that curvature in the lower back for at least some time, the time when we're practicing, because that curvature is responsible for throwing our energy up into our head. It enabled us to see into the distance, which is what enabled human beings to come out of the jungle, basically. But it had this side effect of making us full of ourselves. So we're just trying to just get down here, and it's just, so it's sinking. Yeah. Mind in Dan Chen, sink and relax. It's all in those two, really. Yeah, so I'm not on top of my legs, I'm in my legs. Yeah, so dancers have this visual, they visualize that their hips are actually here, so their legs come all the way to their shoulders, rather than their legs stopping here. Just in this effort to be able, just to have the, you know, the flexibility to be able to just get down. So this has to become really open, and you just have to be brave enough just to bend your legs. And it only really hurts when you've got too much curvature in the lower back, because then you're really conflicted. You know, part of you is wanting to get up and another part is wanting to get down, and then that will produce problems. So thighs parallel to the ground. I mean, they're not, but they feel like they are, because this part has just really dropped down. Okay, and now let's just breathe. So this is the best exercise for just introducing movement into the lower back. Yeah, John was always adamant. You know, he used to say the only way you will succeed at Tai Chi is if you fall in love with Tai Chi. And so if there's part of you that just, just willing to really sacrifice for its sake. I saw that quote recently, I can't remember, some psychologist, he just said, the key to happiness is to find something more important than you are and then devote your life to it. Of course, it's the one thing people won't do nowadays. Yeah, so you've got to practice in such a way that it's sort of, you just got to get into the pain, into the suffering, for two reasons. One, because when you're in pain, you know you're growing, like the bodybuilders know. Yeah, like Dorian Yates said, the only time I'm ever depressed is if I'm not in pain, because then I know I didn't work hard enough the day before. So it makes you grow, become stronger, better able to venture into the unknown, but it rouses spirit. So when you're having to contend with real discomfort, then your spirit comes up to help. And that's the component that will just bring the work alive. So as you bow forwards, just feel this, just sucking the mind out of you. The mind just gets sucked down to the dantian. Then it comes up a little bit here, but then it gets sucked down again. Okay. So another thing about the pain is it sort of flushes out. It flushes out excess, yeah? You know how they talk about software being bloated, like iTunes is bloated software. The program is much, much bigger than it really needs to be given what it does. And that's what we're like, we're bloated. We're bloated with experience and with expectation, yeah? We're full of ourselves, yeah? And so something needs to flush that out. And basically pain is the best thing. Okay, so now just going down and just like you're picking something up and just bringing it into the dantian. One of my students has just had a baby, so we imagine we're picking up the baby. It always beats me how someone can bring a child into this world we've created. Oh. You just try and keep as vertical as you can as you go down. So it's the legs that take you down, not your back. And when you come up, just delay with the legs. Let the head come up and then let the legs squeeze under that. Okay. I don't know if you've seen that One Mind movie yet, but I mean, it is literally one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's just so well edited. But there's a bit in there where they ask one of the monks, why did you become a monk? He said, well, I was a salesman. And when you're a salesman, you basically have to lie. You have to exaggerate the good points of the thing you're selling and not mention the bad points. He said, and then just one day, he said, I just couldn't do it anymore. My conscience just got the better of me. So I became a monk, yeah? And in a sense, that's what we all are. We're all salesmen. We're all liars. We're all born liars, promoting ourselves. The thing we're selling is us, yeah? We're selling ourselves, yeah? So every time you come up, there's a sense of, oh, look at me, yeah? So that's what we're just trying to withdraw. That's the wonderful thing about the monks. When you see the monks, they're just withdrawn. They look depressed, yeah? And they are. They're depressing the ego. They're depressing the ego so that something else can take its place, yeah? So it's just a sense of balance, really. We're just so out of balance. That's why, the world is the way it is. So I'm just withdrawing. My mind is sinking here, yeah? And then I can lift my head, but it's just bright and empty. It's not full of me. It's just, it's just taking in all of this information. So this is what meditation teaches you. It teaches you just to look at things in real fine detail. And then you just see what you're actually about, what you're doing, what a complete lump of shit you actually are. Yeah? And it just all hinges on just being able to get down. And you see that in meditation as well. As soon as I start thinking to myself, yeah, it's like the two halves of the brain, or my two halves, my left and my right, they have to come together and grip each other. It's like they have to really hug each other tight to create like this sense of oneness from which the mind needs that to think, yeah? And so in order to get that sense of oneness, you have to lose the ground, because the ground is always telling you all the time, you're two, because I've got 2 feet on it, yeah? It's one of the reasons attention posture is so difficult, Yeah, because the temptation is just to become the one again. Yeah. So I'm reaching down to the ground and the ground is reaching up into me. And this is the most important part of my body. This is just the top bit. Yeah, it's the bit that sort of, it's the bit that you see, you know, but it's not the important bit. Okay. And now let's just, so having established the sinking and the correct spine, the bum in, we can now work on splitting it up. So full and empty. One side of the body doing one thing, the other side doing the opposite. And then get the feet involved. So as the hand opens, the foot opens. As the hand closes, the foot closes. Feel the toes separating and extending as you open the foot, and concentrate in particular on the little toe. So just feel how the little toe sort of, it goes off like this. It doesn't just go forwards. It wants to sort of almost like go around the corner. So I don't watch it with my mind. I feel it with my body. So feeling and thinking inhibit each other. So when you're thinking, you're not feeling. You can, it's, again, in meditation, when you start thinking to yourself, and then you come back to the room, you realize you just lost the room completely. Didn't just lose the room, you lost your own body. And so one technique for just getting out of the head is just to get into the feeling. Just try and become more sensitive. Just feel the finer details. Yeah, so all of these exercises, you just keep going until the spirit becomes apparent. And that could either be because it's become interesting, because it's just happened to have accidentally gone somewhere it's never gone before, or it could be because you're just getting tired, yeah? So that's why the weight training was so important for us, because it really wakes up the spirit. And then you just, that tends to be what you just use when you do anything, yeah? And then just taking it into the first warm-up exercise, but it's basically the same thing, just opening one hand, closing the other. And the one that goes behind just gently taps the Min Meng. Yeah, so one thing I've learned recently is that if my mind is quiet, my legs don't hurt. So that pain is an illusion. It's the ego just getting frightened that you're doing something right. Okay. So let's just bring it back here again. Just almost feels like you're sort of buckling into your lower back. Okay, so let's just squat down. So down to earth. So the ego has two, or at least two, arch enemies. One is the earth, and the other is nature. So just feel, you know, when you stand up and just from the ground, that's like, it's like a violent act of projection. You're pushing the ground away from you. So just feel the sacrum, the lower back. We're just trying to sort of break it up into little pieces. So we can get like real mobility into it. And just coming forwards a bit. So keep tone in the dantian, keep tone in the belly. And the best way to institute the correct tone is just to do a couple of breaths through that small hole in the mouth. Yeah, so the dantian and the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, they're like little anchors that enable the rest of you to just sort of fall apart. So they will keep you together. So you don't need, so normally what unifies us, what gives us a sense of oneness is the ego. So if we want to let that go, then we need a different one, yeah. So the belt of the waist that we develop with the twist, with the stick exercises, they're just really important. And that breathing, the reverse breathing, gentle reverse breathing. Yeah, so the Chinese talk about alchemy. So we're not just using, so the work that we do doesn't just use energy, it's not just using the energy that we get from food, it's also creating energy. So they talk about, converting one base energy into a higher energy. So the energy of food that we get from our digestion and our metabolism, and converting that into qi. Yeah. And that will only really happen if you manage just to have the mind quiet, just observing what you're doing. And then there's like a sobriety, a real sort of gritty strength of character inside that brings that qi into the bones, is what they talk about. So packing the qi into the marrow. And that just comes from just your discipline. Yeah, the fact that you practice regardless. So the mind is quiet, but it's quiet, but it's also sort of focusing in. You can feel it just going into the bones. Okay, so now let's just sit with the legs open. And just feel that closeness to the ground. So even closer than when we were sitting on the cushion or the chair. Yeah. So like, you know, when you come out of an exciting movie, you know, you're sort of walking home or whatever, and you really feel like you're the hero, and you know, your spirit's just been wakened up a little bit by the excitement. And you just have you see the world differently, and you have a completely different relationship with it. You have a spirited one rather than a habitual one. So that's what we want from the work. We want it to excite us, yeah? And it just brings the spirit up, and then you know, you're just there differently. So a separate reality, a different world, a different reality than the one we're accustomed to. That's what we're trying to wake up. And the problem with spirit is that there's no guarantees. It's like when you see sportsmen, you're like in the darts, you know, the 9-dart finish, getting 501 with 9 darts. They say it's the most difficult achievement in sport. And you just see how infrequently it happens, but when it happens, it's special. Yeah, so the chances of success are quite slim, but the spirit makes it a chance worth taking. Yeah. So for it to actually, for you to succeed, it's not just a matter of you. Everything else has to conspire to assist you. Yeah. So there has to be an aspect of your spirit that can sort of rally the troops, that can sort of just bring spirit up around you. It's not just your spirit that has to rise. It's the spirit of the room. This way, you know, when I'm meditating at night, there usually comes a point, normally after about an hour and a half, when it's like the Holy Spirit just enters the room, and suddenly, whee, there's something there with me. Yeah, there's a frisson in the air. There's like a tingle, and you know, where's that come from? Does that come from me? Have I beckoned it? Was it there all along, and I just didn't know because I was too sleepy and stupid? Because all I know is that when it's there, if I do Tai Chi, it's amazing. So that's where I get my insights. I get my insights from that spirited space, yeah? Okay, so now let's just stand again. Let's just go into the squat again. So this should feel really easy now. And then just up. Okay, so it's just getting down into here. So what makes this sort of work so difficult nowadays is that the world, the normal world, the bourgeois world that we've created for ourselves is just so tempting. So it's always possible to find something that's more interesting to do than the thing that you're doing. Which is why people are always so conflicted now. They're doing one thing, but part of their mind is already on the next thing, or they're doing two or three things at once. Yeah. So, here when I'm driving, it's very rare that you see someone driving. They're normally chatting on the phone or listening to music or the radio. Okay. So let's just try rolling the ball. And the interesting thing about the weights, there we were, really pushing weights to our limits, yeah. So like, squatting 120, no, squatting 100 kilos, deadlifting 120. What John said is that, not only did we get stronger from doing that work, we also got softer. Yeah. So you don't get soft by practicing softness. You get soft by practicing. By practicing hard, by really practicing the things that are difficult, the things you don't want to do. And then just take it into the figure of 8. Okay. Yeah, so I was teaching in class once, and of course the students were being students and not thinking. And I just saw that it's all they needed to do was just get the top of their head beneath this point where this is normally. So it's only really sinking like that much, yeah. And even that much is really difficult. Yeah? You think, oh, it's easy to get that, but to actually get down there and move around in it is really quite difficult. So even just sinking a little bit. John, you'd always say, look, you're bending your legs, you're not sinking. Yeah. So to sink, you're getting through the legs into the ground rather than settling here. Yeah. Or worse still, settling here or here. Okay, so let's bring it up. And again, just feel how difficult this is. So you become the one, the two legs, and now basically just one leg. So you just want to make sure that doesn't encourage you to come up into here. There's still a sense of these two legs twining up the waist, up the spine. So it's play. I mean, the two words for me that sort of say what Tai Chi is all about is listening and play. So the play of the two parts of you and the play when you're interacting with another person. Okay, so let's leave it.